My father was a fisherman from the age of 14 until he died. I've always been interested in shipwrecks. I've been diving since 1990, and when the First World War centenary came about, I thought it would be good if we could find some of the trawler wrecks that went out from Grimsby fishing, mine sweeping, and so we applied for a Heritage Lottery grant to examine these shipwrecks in the North Sea.
Well, it seems like a long time ago now that Kevin first came to us with talk of his funding and what sounded really exciting to us to start investigating some of the hundreds of fishing vessels that were lost in the wars in minesweeping. It's something that we feel quite strongly about at the Fishing Heritage Centre. It's a big part of our fishing heritage. The role of minesweeping during both world wars, I think, is quite understated.
The boats weren't converted in any way apart from clearing of mines with a wire, so they were just ordinary fishing trawlers, and a lot of them were wooden trawlers. They would tow wires behind them with a kite on each side, and it would sweep the mines. It would just cut the wire that was holding the mine to the bottom of the seabed. It would float to the surface, and then they would either destroy it with gunfire, or in a lot of occasions it would float up and sink the ship because it was too close to them.
The ships were requisitioned by the Admiralty, so they bought ships from trawler owners and took them in to become the minesweeper flotilla. There was a feeling at the time, like was everywhere, that everybody had a duty to play. For you to be sort of tasked with such an important role, I think a lot of them would have embraced it, but it must have been difficult because of the sheer number of vessels that were lost. Knowing that friends and other people have been lost on other ships, knowing that there's a good likelihood that you yourself might be lost on another vessel, I think it's hard for any of us today to really understand how that must have felt to people that were actually out there in a minefield having to do it.
I knew that my great-granddad had been blown up by a mine in the Humber, but that's about as much as I knew. I think that's quite similar to a lot of people in Grimsby. They perhaps know of this history in their family, but don't know a lot of the detail.
I'm the great-granddaughter of Harry Conder, who was the skipper of the Pitonia that was hit by a mine and sank in 1914. But since getting involved, I found out the exact position the ship was sunk, and I've also explored the families of the other crew members, and been looking at the history of the Pitonia itself, and decided to look at the ships Harry Conder sailed in. I'm also interested in history more widely.
Susan has done a lot of research about the Pitonia, but there will be other vessels where people would really benefit from knowing more detail and, the life on the trawlers.
For many years there's been an annual service in the Minster, but last year and this year I went onto the service. And seeing all these, it's a very touching service. History from a family point of view, you bring out more information, make it more personal than would otherwise be the case.
There's a hardcore of sort of 6 people that are involved with diving, but we are encouraging new people to join. We're training more people to help us with it, and it is just an ongoing thing that these people want to be involved.
I think people locally have a great interest in the project and what's being unearthed. One particular gentleman who found out that he had relatives on the Alberta, and he was able to lay a wreath at Grimsby docks for his relative who died, which really adds a human aspect to the project and gives it a greater sense of importance. It's actually an appreciation of the centenary of the First World War.